Mitchell Renz, Chat Sports, you're watching NFL Daily. If you're not watching this live, hit that big red button that says subscribe and turn on those notifications. That way you can join us every single Wednesday and Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. First one coming in here is a super chat from Jeffrey Vogel. How well do you think the Steelers will be this coming season, and how well do you think their first-round pick will be this year? So I like Najee Harris. If you're telling me right now, if you're in a fantasy football dynasty draft or whatever, Najee should probably be the number one overall pick. This guy's going to be able to add so much versatility to this offense. Had 30 total touchdowns last year, 26 on the ground, 1 up the middle. But in terms of overall, it doesn't really have too much to do, I think, with Najee. It's everything to do with Ben Roethlisberger, which kind of pains me to say that, but it's the truth. I mean, you saw how good Pittsburgh was last year, 11-0. Big Ben starts to fall off. Teams started to figure out he couldn't throw the ball down the field, and then teams just figured him out. That's when they started losing all those games. So if Big Ben's healthy, this is easy a playoff team. If he's not healthy, I don't think they get in. It's a tough division. All right, Mr. Nobody, you don't have to say that about yourself. This might be a burner account, not sure. When you think the Bears will be a contender, can you give me your opinion on future? Cut Miller and Wims, trade for Gilmore and sign Schwartz, 4 right tackle and put Jenkins. Okay. In terms of the Bears, I do think they can be a contender. They have a good defense. Sure, they still have a few missing pieces here and there. You got to figure out what you're going to do with that offensive line still. Are you going to keep Allen Robinson around for a long time? But if Justin Fields is ready to go, I know you got Dalton there, and I know you got, what's his name? Who's the other guy? Nick Foles. But if Justin Fields is ready, you got to be able to put him out on the football field. So I actually think that they have a good future ahead. I really think that Matt Nagy actually might have saved his job. But in terms of some of these other players, if I were to make one of those moves, if Mitchell Schwartz is healthy, sure, but he's not healthy yet. And if you could go out and figure out a way to trade for Gilmore, I mean, obviously if you can make yourself better, that's what you try to do. Christopher Leonard, what up, my man? Mitch, chances we go out now and sign Melvin Ingram. You're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think that's the route that they go. If I'm Las Vegas, I personally wouldn't do it because I'm a believer that Ingram's going to ask for a lot more money than what he's worth. I mean, if you're telling me I'm going to get a healthy Ingram, then sure, there's going to be a lot more teams interested. However, he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last two seasons. And even when he played last year, he wasn't that good. If you want to go out and get a veteran edge rusher, the guy that I would tell every single NFL team is to go out and get Justin Houston. Now, if Ingram wants to sign a one-year deal less than $2 million, sure, I'm much more open to it. However, I just don't think it's going to happen. All right, y'all, I want to get to 250,000 subscribers. We need 3,574 more to go. I remember the day that we hit our first 1,000 subs here. I remember the day we hit 50th, 100,000. The way that this channel continues to grow is by having awesome people who continue to watch us and also spreading the word. So if you could, take the link that y'all see below, send it to some friends out there and be like, hey, this is a cool YouTube channel. They do sports content. They get interactive. So Mariners fan, Joe Mannix, Broadway, Kobe, and then Taryn Winfield, I'm looking at you. Spread the love here at Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. All right, Malcolm, X57, will Jamal Adams get a new deal before the season starts? Great question. I'm actually a believer that, yes, you go out and you try to do everything you possibly can to get a deal done for Adams. The real question is this. What exactly are you going to pay him? Because if you don't go out and pay him, then I'm kind of sitting there like, well, why did you give up 2 first-round picks? The day that they gave up 2 first-rounders, I was like, Adams is going to be a Seahawk. They're going to figure out a way to get a deal done. Now, sure, injury is always kind of, up and down. If he would have got injured, it changes things. People will say that he can't cover. That's okay. He does a job very well by going out and getting after the quarterback, a position where he had 9.5 sacks last year. In terms of how much you're going to have to pay him, I mean, if I'm Adams and I'm Adams' team, I try to shoot for Justin Simmons money. If I'm the Seahawks, I say, well, those guys cover a lot better than you, and I don't know if we're going to pay that much money. However, he is going to be one of the highest paid safeties in the league. There's no doubt about that. But this is the question. Is he actually a top 5 safety? Y for yes or N for no? Being a safety to me means being able to do a lot of different things, but it's also being able to be a good fit for your team. If his fit is being able to come up near the box, is being able to get up near the line and get pressure on the quarterback and have 9.5 sacks a year, that's pretty effective. If you look at it as a safety, as somebody who can drop back into coverage, then no, he's not a top 5 guy. But let me know down in the comments, Y for yes or N for no. All right, we got gave the Falcons draft grade a B+. Thoughts on the Falcons quarterback and DB depth chart? I mean, you got Matt Ryan. I think that he's okay. I know there's a lot of trade rumors around him. If I was an NFL team, I would love to have him. And then DB depth chart, I still think it's one of the weaker units in the league. But if A.J. Terrell can take a step up, sure, they'd be a little bit I think then if he could step up, they would be average. All right, Miami Dolphins playoff odds. I don't have it off the top of my head right now. However, they went 10-6 last year. They barely just missed it. And I think if a lot of people would have said a 10-6 team doesn't get in, they'd be shocked, especially with 7 teams getting in. This is a football team that continues to get better and better and better. I liked a lot of the moves they made on offense. I'll say it's probably, I don't know, I'd say a 30-40% chance that they get in the playoffs. All right, let's go to Jaden Henderson. What's up, my dude? Appreciate you watching my IG Live last night. What's up, man? So the Packers have squandered every opportunity to help Rodgers. At least when we were ready to move on from Manning, yep, we had a plan. No, I mean, you're 100% right. Also, Jaden, I appreciate your other super chat. Producer Sam can split this. Much love. I mean, I talked to Jaden last night on my IG Live at Mitchell Renz 365. If you guys want to go check it out, please do. But I'm actually kind of in agreement with you. Like, the Colts at least had a plan. And sure, their plan, I don't want to say was easier, but they also had this guy named Andrew Luck kind of fall into their lap. And, I mean, they went through one bad year with Curtis Painter, I believe, was the quarterback. And then, they ended up getting Andrew Luck the very next year. But that's the Ballard effect. I think Ballard is probably a top 5, he's a top 5 GM. You could actually make the argument he's one of the best guys in the entire league being able to make these moves. But I'm with you, Jaden. All right, let's go to Jose Delgado. The Raiders have to pull the trigger sick for Aaron Rodgers. Mitch, what is your opinion? I love DC, but no to the Broncos. I mean, that's the issue here, right? I mean, I've said it before. I've said it once on the Raiders Report, and I said it here on NFL Daily. I'm a believer that if he doesn't go to the Raiders, he could actually get traded to Denver. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, the team that I would actually want to go to is, in fact, the Denver Broncos, because that's the blueprint. They've already been able to do it with the veteran cornerback, and they have a pretty complete team. But it's ultimately going to come down to price, and it's going to cost both teams a lot of draft capital. Now, we got a lot of questions here on today's show. You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Obviously, I can't get to every single one of your questions, so if you could, you can always hit me up on IG. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. The DMs are open for a reason. If you also want to go hit up producer Sam, if you have any Aaron Rodgers questions, if you have any Denver Broncos questions, Sam does a lot of good work here at Chat Sports as well. You can hit him up on Twitter, which you can see below. It's at SamBrownCS. Slide in his DMs. I think he would enjoy that. All right, what up, Turbo? How well do you think Devonta Smith will help Jalen Hurts? He's obviously going to help. I mean, Smith is one of the better wide receivers in this year's draft. Yes, he's undersized, but I'm not going to sit here and rip on a guy who I haven't seen play yet. But when I have seen him play, his ability to get open and his ability to create separation is probably some of the best I've ever seen. The bigger issue is this, Jalen Hurts. I do not see Hurts as being a long-term option for the Eagles, for any NFL team. And I think you're going to see a lot of frustration from a guy like Smith who, I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts he's not going to be the answer. Mark Mueller, appreciate the super. Hey, Mitchell, the face looks good, buddy. Appreciate it. Do you think that Rodgers goes to the West Coast? Rodgers for Wilson with Seattle. So I actually already talked about Russell for Rodgers. It's on our NFL Rumors show, so please go check that out. In terms of the West Coast, it sounds like that's where he wants to go. If you are talking about actually being on the West Coast, being realistic, I think Vegas makes the most sense. It's a quick flight to Los Angeles simply because, again, it's a quick transition there. If he wants to be close to Jeopardy, again, Las Vegas is easy. The other thing I don't get, though, again, I'm not good at geography. Everyone's like, oh, he wants to go to a West Coast team, go to Denver. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I've said it once, I've said it twice. I think he ends up going to Denver if he does get traded. Let's go to AAA user. Since Arthur Smith knows Jarrell Casey, thoughts on Atlanta adding him, okay? Or thoughts on Antoine Woods since they are signing former Falcons players. All right, that's actually kind of funny. If I was the Atlanta Falcons, I get the Arthur Smith connection. Casey, this and that, he used to play with the Titans. But Antoine Woods or Jarrell Casey, before I give you my answer, you know what? I'll ask you guys. Type JC for Casey or type AW for Antoine Woods. If you were the Atlanta Falcons, which free agent defensive tackle would you go out and get? I think Woods is probably a good player. However, this is a pretty easy one for me. I'm going to go Jurrell Casey. Yes, he was banged up last year, played in only 3 games, but when healthy, I mean, this is a pretty easy one. I'm going to go ahead and say Jurrell Casey. What's up, James? Does Miami address their running back room before the season? Great question. I think one of their biggest needs was indeed running back. Unfortunately for them, Javonte Williams was drafted by the Broncos, traded up to 35 to take him, or else that's where he would have ended up going. Now you're sitting there wondering, all right, who do we end up going with? The running back room's still pretty thin. Some of the free agent running backs out there might not be that interesting. A name to keep in mind, Le'Veon Bell. There's been some connections there before. Let's go to Jake. Thoughts on the Titans offseason and the draft? Losing Corey Davis, I think, is going to hurt a lot more than what people are going to take into account. A.J. Brown, he needs to be able to stay healthy. You got Tannehill, you got a solid offense. What really comes down to it for a team like Tennessee is that offensive and defensive lines. You were able to add radons, which is a good thing. Also, your defense, you went out and added somebody, who's the guy from Pittsburgh? Bud Dupree. You also added Bud Dupree to be able to get more edge rush ability. The Titans want to be a tough team, and you can't be a tough team unless your offensive line is legit or your defensive line is legit. They've gotten better at both of those positions. I still am a believer that they're the biggest threat in that division in the AFC South. Yes, there's some up-and-coming teams there, but that franchise, I do believe, is doing the right things. All right, what up, Stamps? Do you think that the Titans made a mistake in drafting Caleb Farley? Do I think they made a mistake? No. I am all about risk-taking, and if Caleb Farley ends up being fully healthy, he's going to be the best cornerback in that draft. Before all the injuries, before all this stuff, all these reports came out, he would have been a top 10 pick. The athletic ability's there. I mean, he's got all these amazing attributes, all these amazing tools that Tennessee is going to love. Is it a risk? Sure. But you know what, man? I'm okay taking risks. What I don't like is singles. I'm not a singles hitter. If I'm going to go get somebody, I want somebody that can hit a home run. Caleb Farley, fully healthy, that's a home run. Are you lame or are you subbed? Let me know down in the comments section. I want you to type S for sub, type L for lame. Be honest with me. If you are subscribed to Chat Sports, I'm going to give you a shout out here live. As a reminder, we go live every single Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you're lame, that's a you problem. Go ahead, subscribe, the #1 most watched interactive sports channel on YouTube. Shout out to Manny, shout out to Mark, shout out to Quee, shout out to Akish, Matt, Chase, and Ghostly Chino. Y'all are some real OGs. Go ahead and subscribe. All right, what up, baby? 2 firsts and Carr for Rodgers. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would be shocked if Green Bay said no, or if Green Bay said yes. Everyday Jam. What playoff last year do you see having a huge fall off? All right, so which playoff team last year do you see having a huge fall off? I might go Green Bay, just for the simple fact of all this drama. And if they do move on from Rodgers and he doesn't play there, I mean, they go from being a top 10 team to, I don't even think they're in the top 20. Like, they have a lot of good pieces around them, but if Jordan Love's going to be your starting quarterback, I'm telling y'all right now, it's going to be an absolute disaster. So, as it stands right now, I'm going to go out and say the Green Bay Packers. Joey, what's up, my dude? Will Dak be as good as he was before his injury? You'd like to be able to think so, but I don't want people to go out there and think he's going to throw for the amount of yards that he was, because if you're just looking at stats, dude was on pace for, I believe, over 6,000 passing yards, but that's also because the Dallas Cowboys defense was just hot garbage. So their defense is going to be better this year. It almost has to be. It can't be that bad back-to-back years. And for Dak, he might have a little hesitation in the ankle. Everything I read and see on the Cowboys report says he's going to be ready to go. I mean, I have confidence in Dak. He's a good quarterback. Top 10. Kyrie Smalls, if Schwartz is cheap, should the Chiefs bring him back? Good question here. If he's healthy and cheap, yes, I would bring back Mitchell Schwartz. However, played 6 games last year, allowed 2 sacks, and all the reports right now are like, well, we'll kind of see what happens. And when you're 31 years old coming off a back injury, I don't know. I know you already went out and got Orlando Brown. He's going to play left tackle. But there is still a little bit of a need here for Kansas City, especially after the draft at right tackle. I'm going to say if he's healthy, yes, you bring him back. Scott Bayswell, will Justin Fields be the day 1 starter over Dalton? Great question. I still am a believer that Dalton will be the day 1 starter. However, the first interception he throws, if they lose a game, you're already going to start to hear it. I know that Chicago wants to start Justin Fields, and I know that probably everyone in Chicago, hell, NFL fans around the world want Fields to start. But there's a part of me that thinks that he's not going to be the starter week 1. I hope I'm wrong, but you know what, man? I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice. If you want to know more about the Bears, if you want to get to know more about Justin Fields, we have an awesome Bears channel here at Chat Sports. The link you guys are about to see down below, I believe. We'll get there. YouTube.com/BearsNow is how you find it. More news, more rumors, and there's actually a lot of Justin Fields jerseys on that channel right now, so please go check it out. What up, T-Man? How would Trey Brown fit into Seattle's defense in 2021? So Sam's nodding his head up and down. I mean, it's a need, right? For Seattle, you needed to go out. You needed to go ahead and address this position. If you can find somebody that can continue to help your secondary, that's what you try to do. So Trey Brown from Oklahoma, pretty good fit.